And so now it's time to transition to talking about our LinkedIn headline, right? Um, for sure, there is a bit of leveraging keywords and potentially showcasing one key result to stand out from your competition. But what we're really trying to avoid here is, the stock functionality of LinkedIn is to put your current title and your current company as your default headline. And what we want you to do is to go into your settings and to change that to a more customized LinkedIn headline, right? Eli, can you go on to the next slide, please?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Right. And so in thinking about your headline, we have some strategies here on the slide, right? And that's pulling some keywords out of your LinkedIn About section up into your headline in a way that brands you the way you want to be branded. Okay. Now you have 120 characters of space to play with in this field, and you can make a very powerful impact in actually much less than 120 characters. But don't hesitate to use all 120 characters of space if you feel like that's what you need to do. When you see this example of Sean, he does use the vast majority of the 120. But you can see that he did not use the default functionality. He has created a well-branded, keyword-rich headline. So he's branding himself as a product designer, UX and UI expertise, 11 years experience in telecom. He has decided that his targets, I should say one of his targets will be the telecom industry, right? And he wants to make sure that he pulls that to the very headline of his branding so that when people visit his profile, they don't miss the fact that he has that rich experience in the industry, right? And then the next part, optimize customer experience and technical support for 50,000 customers, right? Incredible accomplishment. He wants the world to know that, and he should tell the world about that. Okay. And then the last piece of his branding is about data-driven design, right? That's super important, especially in the contemporary market. I can't think of a single piece of business, including higher education, where Eli and I used to work, that's not data-driven, right? He knows that, and he wants to make sure that visitors to his profile know that he's a data-driven professional and that he can bring that value to their organization as well. Okay, so that's how Sean has chosen to brand himself. It is completely relevant to his targets, and it showcases impact along with his branding of being a product designer. Eli, was there anything else you wanted to add about Sean's profile?
I just generally, it's a very strong headshot here as well, and you have it's warm, it's welcoming, it's a smile. It's actually a headshot that's like above the waist here, or sorry, chest and up, right? The background is not too busy. It's simple. And there's a background image here as well, which it just adds a added layer of aesthetic design to a profile, better than just like the basic background, which will also attract a little bit of attention. It just kind of shows that you put a little bit more attentiveness and care into the profile. So,
and we don't get a second chance to make that first impression. I think we're all familiar with that saying, right? And on LinkedIn, it's that headshot, it's that headline real estate that makes that first impression, and it's critically important to your branding, to your gaining traction when viewers visit your page, to make sure that this is really the best it can be and the most relevant it can be to your target audience.
Yeah, 100%. And you also see his location. He's job seeking in New York. He makes sure that his location is New York. So if you're job seeking in, where you're actively looking for work is where you should actively represent yourself from, unless you are looking to make a transition, and you can make that known throughout the process of meeting with people. But like Peter mentioned at Target, we have to be cognizant of location, and the most easiest way to make a transition, or the fastest way to make a transition, is to kind of look within the market that you're already living. So that's part of Sean's strategy.
Mm-hmm. All right. So we've introduced to you this idea of having a well-branded, high-impact LinkedIn headline, and now we are going to put you to work on your own headlines. And what we're going to do in a moment, we're going to put you into pairs. So when you go into your pairs, really quick self-introduction so you can get to know each other quickly. But then we'd like you to dive right into working on a headline for yourself. And so when you introduce yourself to each other, share generally what is your target role and target function. Together, you can brainstorm some keywords based on your background. And you can think about what are your years of experience, what industries have you supported, what functional areas have you been exposed to, what are some of your highlight reel accomplishments or achievements, okay? And then work on a headline for yourself in the moment in your pair, okay? And we've even given you a bit of a formula here for a headline, right? And that is, we've built out a little mathematical formula here. So a killer headline equals your personal brand keywords. And for Sean, that was product, designer, UX, UI. Plus your years of relevant experience. And for Sean, it was 11 years of experience in telecom. Plus impact-oriented value proposition. And in Sean's cases, it was about the 50,000 customers and his data-driven design. So very simple formula that you can use. Eli's put the formula into the chat, and I believe he's also going to put a screenshot of this slide into the chat so you have access to it while you're in small groups. But this is your chance to quickly get acquainted and start brainstorming LinkedIn headlines for yourself. We're going to have you, how much time do we have for these pair works?
We have about 10 minutes, Peter.
About 10 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to give you 10 minutes. That's actually a lot of time for you to be together and to work on your headlines in your pairs. And then when we come back after the 10 minutes, for those of you who are brave and who are open to sharing, we'd love for you to throw your headlines into the chat when you get back. All right? So off you go, and we'll see you in 10 minutes.
Okay, great. I'm just going to make sure. Peter, do you mind being in a room with someone else?
Yeah, no problem at all.
Okay, perfect. Just going to open all the rooms.